Now the last discussion we'll have tonight, how will the earth look like on the Day of Judgment? Is it like this earth? You know, the terrain, the mountains, the valleys, the oceans, how will it look like? Allah says in Surah Ibrahim, verse 48, يَوْمَ تُبَدَّلُ الْأَرْضُ غَيْرَ الْأَرْضِ وَالسَّمَاوَاتِ. On that day, the Day of Judgment, the earth will be changed to another earth, and even the heavens. وَبَرَزُوا لِلَّهِ الْوَاحِدِ الْقَهَارِ. So we know that the earth on the Day of Judgment will be the same planet, but it will be different. Allah will change the features of the earth. There's one interesting hadith in the book of Kafi from Imam Baqer alayhi salam, in which the Imam was asked about this verse, يَوْمَ تُبَدَّلُ الْأَرْضُ غَيْرَ الْأَرْضِ. The earth will change into something else. Explain this verse. How will it change? The Imam says, تُبَدَّلُ خُبْزَةً نَقِيَّةً. The earth will change into pure bread. Everyone can eat from it until the Day of Judgment is over. Remember, it's 50,000 years, right? So people need to eat something. Yes, people will come out almost like starving and hungry, those who are not high-ranking believers, of course. But in the end, they're not going to starve to death. Allah will give them sustenance until the hisab is over with. It's a very long day. So the Imam says the earth will transform into bread that people will eat. The narrator says to the Imam alayhi salam, his name was Al-Abrash Al-Kalbi. He tells the Imam, إِنَّ النَّاسَ يَوْمَئِذٍ لَفِي شُغْلٍ مِنَ الْأَكْلِ. People are too busy to eat. So what do you mean that they need to eat? They're so frightened, they're not even thinking of eating, right? The Imam says, look, it's not more severe than hell. Allah tells us in the Quran that the people of hell will eat that disgusting, foul-smelling food called dari' or some other terms or ghislin in the Holy Quran. طيب, if you're burning in hell and you're still eating, on the Day of Judgment, before that stage, obviously you have some awareness to eat. So the Imam was just rejecting his objection. That no, they'll still eat. Don't say they're too busy. They'll still have to eat. Now, what does it mean that the earth will turn into bread? What does that mean? A number of scholars have taken this not too literally, but more symbolically. They believe the crust of the earth, the surface of the earth, will provide pure food for the people. Now, the reason why the hadith says bread, because bread is the symbol for food, especially at the time. In other words, the Imam is just saying on the surface of the earth, there will be food for people to eat. That's all. Now, whether it's actual bread or not, Allah knows. So the surface of the earth will change. Right now, you don't see food everywhere on earth. But on the Day of Judgment, there will be. Now let's read some brief verses that tell us what will happen to the earth on the Day of Judgment. Surah Al-Fajr, verse 21. كَلَّا إِذَا دُكَّتِ الْأَرْضُ دَكًّا دَكًّا. What does that mean? On the Day of Judgment, the earth will be ground, like when you grind something, completely destroyed. Now what does that mean, completely destroyed? That means it will be a level plain. When you get the mountains and the valleys and you crush everything, right? You level out everything. Such that it will be like fine dust. These huge mountains will become like fine dust, like you're grinding them. In Surah Al-Zilzal, Allah says, إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا. There will be a massive earthquake on the Day of Judgment that will start the process of resurrection. Surah Al-Haqqa, verse 15. وَحُمِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ وَالْجِبَالُ فَدُكَّتَا دَكَّةً وَاحِدَةً. Allah will take the ground and the mountains, and basically they will collide against one another. And that causes fine powder everywhere. Because when you grind something very hard, it becomes fine powder. That's how the earth will look like. In another verse, Allah says, وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْجِبَالِ. They ask you about these huge mountains. Think of Mount Everest. فَقُلْ يَنْسِفُهَا رَبِّي نَسْفًا. Allah will completely destroy them. فَيَذَرُهَا قَاعًا صَفْصَفًا. You'll see them, at ground level. All these mountains will be brought down to ground level. You don't see any ups and downs. لَا تَرَى فِيهَا عِوَجًا وَلَا أَمْتًا. No hills, nothing. Everyone will be standing on, ground that's even. Because when you grind something so hard and you shake it, it evens out, right? So the earth will even out on the Day of Judgment. Yes.
So you're saying it's going to look like a perfect sphere?
Yes. Basically, it will look like a perfect sphere. Now imagine if everybody has to stand on the earth, it makes sense. Because if you have, let's say, trillions of people, there's no space for them. Where are they going to stand? If you have mountains and hills, people will fall. You want to keep people on one level. So yes, it will be like an almost perfect sphere.
The idea of Sahat al-Mahshar is more like the core is earth, right?
It will be on planet Earth, yes.
Okay.
But there will be no ups and downs, hills and valleys, mountains. It will be even. The surface will even out. When Allah crushes the mountains, they'll even out and we stand on that earth. So it'll be the same planet, it will just be different. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in another verse says, إِذَا الشَّمْسُ كُوَّرَتْ, when the sun will basically be folded up. And وَإِذَا النُّجُومُ انْكَدَرَتْ, the stars, you see them scatter away. وَإِذَا الْجِبَالُ سُيِّرَتْ, the mountains, you see them being moved and just colliding. On the Day of Judgment, we witness that. That in itself, causes this fear in the hearts of people. Because when you see these massive changes, this is the earth that you're familiar with, and you see it so drastically different, that indicates the seriousness of the Day of Judgment. That grand changes are coming. This earth that we loved so much, that we ran after so much, we killed because of this earth, we stole because of this earth, we became greedy because of this earth, we committed injustice because of this earth. Allah says, look at this earth. Nothing. It's now has no value. There's just fine dust everywhere. That's a lesson for those who were arrogant and rejected the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.